And here we go. Hi, dear readers. This is T. Harriman coming back with you. Fun with prepositions. Coming at you. I had some of my earliest memories are of a black and white TV. My mother taught, this really goes in her memories, but she taught typing. And she had like the old school typewriter. And indeed, when I learned typing, yes, I took a whole class on it back as a sophomore in high school, right? Because that's the point at which I was most mature to learn keyboarding. I had an electric typewriter. And so I will never forget the miracle when my parents came home and said, "We've got something really exciting." I was in high school somewhere. And they brought a little Apple IIe out. About so big. Not as big as a TV, honestly. But the screen was like postcard size. And I remember how breathless I was. And I was so thrilled. And I was so amused when you would boot up the camera. And you'd boot up the camera. And I kid you not, a little computer would come up on the screen, like a little icon of a computer, and it would smile at you. And I was like, what kind of alchemy is this? You know, I'd never seen anything like that before. And so it continued on. I guess my college years are probably the most fascinating with, I think my college years are the most fascinating with tech because I remember I went to Indiana University Bloomington, and I think it had a population of about 45,000 at the time. And I remember there were only like 2 computer clusters on campus. Okay, so like 60 computers for like 45,000 people. Right, yeah. And I just had like a electric typewriter. So I'd have to go to the computer lab to use like an actual Apple. And I remember driving the hippie looking graduate students. I would drive them. I'd go to the computer cluster on the first floor of the library. And I remember driving some poor hapless graduate students nearly to suicide because I'd be like, I lost everything. And they'd be like, well, did you save? Because there's no autosave. And I'd be like, no, I didn't. And in fact, they even had a thing back in the day where you could just save like a piece of text, like just define a piece of text, and it would save. It would actually save just that piece of text. I don't know when that fell under the way. And in fact, there was, until recently, relatively recently, there was a great joke in which they said, you know what, I'm hoping I'm not, this neon isn't burning into, this gives you a different view. Although I'm in shadow, but I mean, hopefully makes me look mysterious. Okay. So, but this kind of gives you a different look. You can look to see what the view is outside my window when I'm on the ugly green couch. So here's the joke, the aforementioned joke. Satan and Jesus are in a coding contest, and their fingers are furiously flying over their keyboards, and God is there and he's watching them, and as they type, sparks and fire dart out from Satan's fingers, and thunder and lightning emerge from Christ's fingers, and they're going faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and all of a sudden the power goes out, and Satan screams, what happened to all my work? What happened to all of my coding? And God said, well, looks like Jesus won the contest. But then, of course, Jesus saves. Okay. I totally accept if you want to throw rotten vegetables or fruit at the screen. It's okay. I accept it. I get it. I take responsibility. So, that is a technology dependent joke that if I told you today, you'd be like, what? I don't understand. Because of the advent of autosave. Okay. Well, I think probably something that's most fascinating for me, that it probably means very little to my children, is that when I was an undergrad, I remember typing out emails and email addresses. Now, way back then, there were only a handful of servers on the entire continent. Seriously. All of North America had servers. I know. It's nuts. And I remember, say, for example, my linguistics professor, Linda Schwartz. Her office was just really, a few feet away. But as now, of course, you just type out an email to someone and you send it. Except it didn't quite happen that way. Because I would type an email, I'd push send, and then and I would keep getting a report on the screen, saying your email has gone to Boston. Your email's now at the NCSW. Your email's over there. It would tell me, and then it would tell me when it was routed right into the server. And I would watch it just astounded and a little puzzled. Our professors were encouraging us to use this new electronic mail contraption, and I'm just like, I don't know if there's a future in this, because I could have just walked next door and told her, and this message went all over the country, and it took 5 or 6 minutes for it to go all over the country until it arrived in her inbox. I don't know if there's a future in this email thing. So you know what? I mean, I'm under no illusions. I know that as a mom of 4 teenagers, that I'm not going to be cool, no matter what I do. So I always tease them. I'm like, oh yes, I sent an e-telegram, or I'll be like, oh, I tweeted, and I twittered to this person or that person. And I think thus far they tolerate it because they're like, oh, Mom. But You know, I don't know. It's just fun to do stuff like that. Um, I think the last two ones I've talked to you mostly about like computers and TVs and whatnot, but something that I remember because I've been looking for a car lately is that you know how I've been looking around at and you know some of these cars they have drama. All these cars have all this like amazing technology. For example, although I think this was true in the 2017 Mercedes, not this is not 2020's tech. Like if you show a driving pattern that is reminiscent of of going to sleep, there is like a little aromatherapy tin in the mailbox, and it will waft some. It will waft a scent under your nose to help you wake up. And I think that's so fascinating. My parents had a blue Pontiac. I think it was a '67. Obviously older than I am. But my parents were like, you know, this thing has, you know, safety belts in back too. Isn't that wild? I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, there's safety belts not just in the front, but in back. You know, that's crazy talk. And they did not have car seats for us either. Um, my former in-laws said that they would just make up a box so that the baby would be comfortable, and that's what they put you in. It wasn't tied down or anything like that. Like I remember with my children's, it was an excruciatingly particular task to to make sure you got a car seat right. Okay, it was in difficulty, it was roughly the same as getting a doctorate in engineering from MIT. I mean, well, or let's just say it that way. It would have been good to have somebody like that around when I was trying to get my little ones into car seats. And I think the other thing, too, is that we bought it was a white Chrysler in 1976 that and I know you guys are just gonna you're not gonna believe this. This is nuts. You guys are gonna be like, this is nuts, this is crazy. But it had wait for it, air conditioning. Woo! We thought that was living. And so, I think that now this is just my hypothesis. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. But I think that uh, growing up for me was physically less comfortable. Like when everybody debates about who has it harder. Kids, parents, well, whatnot, what generation. I think I had it physically harder than kids today. But I truly believe that, I'd bet cash money that they have it emotionally and intellectually so much harder, I think, than we do. So, so that is what I have for today. Comment below with how you think the different generations accept technology. Do you agree or disagree with what I've had here? Oh, and don't forget to put October 15th in in your calendars for when to grab Buy This Book, the 10,000 Year Plan. And also, don't forget links in bio to the two platforms, Teespring and Bonfire, where you can get some of my really adorable merch. It's really fun, bright, uplifting, exactly what you need to, our days now are sometimes they're quite difficult. And so I designed this merchandise as a way to hopefully, I hope, cheer people up and lift people up and give them a smile on their face, even for just a split second. Oh, and let's see, what else was I going to say? Yep, I think that's it. No, I lied. Like, subscribe, tickle the bell. And hey, I love you guys. And I want you all to have an absolutely amazing day, you guys. Peace out.